Assalamu alaikum. In the seventh part, I'm going to talk about how the deception of Quasi-Islam works, okay, in the community, giving the masjid as the example and the source of Quasi-Islam. And then, inshallah, I'm going to talk to the Imams directly because the Imams are a part of the problem. Okay, so in previous videos, I've talked about what a massive failure of Islam and a massive crime against Islam has been committed here in the United States and other Western communities because the most important thing in Allah's Deen was completely ignored and destroyed. And then in the very last session, I was talking about how the foundation of Deen of Islam is amal, okay, it's work, okay, but that's not the way Muslims live now, and that's not the way masajid were set up, and that's not how things are operating, and that's why you perpetually fail at everything, okay? So, and that's the foundation then of Quasi-Islam, is that you rejected actual Islam and then you set up a lifestyle and a mentality and a so-called masjid and a so-called program, which I call Quasi-Islam, all right? And this is very deceptive because every Muslim in the community now thinks that they're doing Islam, and they think that you have Islam, and they think that it's a masjid, and none of this is true, okay? So here's how Quasi-Islam works, okay? Some people built a building and they started calling it masjid, 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 masjid. It's the masjid. Go to the masjid, make salah at the masjid. It's the masjid, 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 okay? And so you planted the idea in the mind of the Muslim that this is a masjid. But the Muslims don't know what a masjid is, okay? So when this is not a masjid, the Muslims don't know it. Then when you built this place, and usually you put a mihrab, and you put a dome on it, and you put some bookshelves with the Quran all around the walls, okay, and you put the minbar up in front. So you made a place that looks like a masjid, okay? Appearances only. And then the masjid hired somebody and they assigned him the imam position. And everybody says imam, 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 imam. But in Islam, imam means leader, and you don't have any of those, okay? And then people come in and make salah and listen to the imam talk for 15 or 20 minutes. And like I mentioned in another session, Qala Allah Ta'ala, blah, 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 Qala Rasulullah, blah, blah, blah. And everybody in the community thinks that the imam is talking about Islam, okay? It's appearances only. Okay. If your community is not organizing, and your masjid is not organizing, and the so-called imam is not organizing to do the work of Islam, then you are not doing Islam. And I've talked about this in previous sessions. If you have not developed a fiqh of the community, what are the obligations and the priorities, then you are definitely not doing Islam. Okay? So that's how Quasi-Islam is very deceptive. It's what you've done is you took a piece of Islam and an appearance of Islam, and you have an Islam costume, okay, the beard and the thingy on your head and some kind of clothes. And then you go to a place, it looks like a masjid, and you have a guy, and he's dressed up in an imam costume. and he stands on the minbar and Qala Allah Ta'ala, Qala Rasulullah, and now every Muslim in the community thinks that this is Islam. And I've already shown you that your community completely destroyed Islam. You can't simultaneously have Islam and be destroying Islam. And so I've already given 2 proofs that you're definitely not doing Islam. Okay? And so now, talking to the Imams directly, and I mean every single one of you, I don't want to name a whole bunch of names. I know the name of every Imam in DFW. Okay? And I'm friends with a few. Now I have to talk to you directly. Okay? 80% of the problem of Muslims, of the failure of Muslims, is the working class Muslim. That when they reject the work of Islam, that precludes any possibility of Islam. You can't reject the foundation of Deen and then have Deen. Okay? But you're not helping. You're not helping, and you're not guiding, and you're not leading. Okay? But you yourself became a part of and a symbol of this deception called Quasi-Islam. You are a part of the problem. And if you have studied a hadith as I have, then you know that there are a hadith in which Rasulullah ﷺ warned you, the so-called scholar of Islam, saying that among you are the first people in Jahannam, and saying that a time would come and the people of real knowledge and real intelligence and real understanding would die, and the Muslims will be left with ignorant people. And they will follow those ignorant people, and those ignorant people are astray. You are not guiding to Islam. Okay, you're not. When you do not have a fiqh for the community, there is no way. You can't say, I am on the hidayah of Islam, I am on Sirat al-Mustaqim, and you don't even have a damn fiqh for what you're supposed to be doing. So you Imams, you're not doing Islam. And when you see year after year after year after year that your program fails, when do you pull your head out of your ass? When do you do that? I know you want everybody else to, but when do you pull your head out and figure out what are the programs that bring the right transformation? And what are the programs that focus on the real priorities and get the Muslims activated, okay, and organized? That's your job. So, but the way you do now with your phony baloney khutbah that doesn't transform anybody's life, and then mashallah, the big highlight of your year is Taraweeh. Wallah, you're not even supposed to be making Taraweeh. You're not even supposed to be doing that. Nobody, no faqih in the history of Islam said that it's okay to ignore fara'id and go do mustahabat. This does not exist in Islam. And the time that is spent, that is wasted on Taraweeh, is time that should be spent doing the work of Islam, the work that Islam requires. Okay? You're not doing Islam. And so you preclude, and this is why, when I'm watching the community for 33 years and nothing improves, the Muslims don't improve. You get one generation of ignorant, useless Muslims, comes after another, comes after another. Okay? You fail at the fara'id. You do not fulfill the fara'id al-kifayah. And you have destroyed the most important mission of the Deen. You cannot pretend to have Islam. You should not daydream that your Islam is fine and that after this you will go to Jannah. You're in very serious danger. Okay? Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.